Please don't forget to subscribe and comment. The first time I met Logan Steele, he was all business, tall, silent, and dressed in black. He didn't speak much, and when he did, it was crisp and professional. He was assigned to me after a string of uncomfortable stalker incidents that made my parents hire full-time protection. I rolled my eyes when they insisted I take him along even on vacations. Love Island wasn't exactly a dangerous destination. But there he was, hovering behind me like a dark shadow, his eyes always scanning, always distant. I tried to ignore how good he looked, broad shoulders, sharp jawline, always calm, always alert. And though I hated to admit it, his presence made me feel safe, something I hadn't felt in a long time. I was used to people pretending to like me for my fame or my money, but Logan never crossed the line. That made him even more mysterious, even more magnetic. Everything changed on the fourth evening at the villa. I came down from my room in a short, sky blue swim dress, just to tease him, just to see if the unshakable Logan had a weak spot. The fabric clung to my curves, and my hair was damp from the shower, cascading down my shoulders. I caught him staring. He looked away quickly, but the way his throat bobbed and his jaw tightened gave him away. Something shifted between us. I felt it like a spark in the air. For the first time, I saw emotion in his eyes, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to miss. My heart raced, a mix of nerves and thrill rushing through me. We didn't speak that night, but I noticed he stood closer than usual, his body tense, as if fighting some inner war. When I glanced back at him once, his eyes were already on me. That look burned into me. The next day, we went out on a private boat arranged by the resort. It was just the two of us. Logan insisted it was safer, that staff could be unpredictable. But I think he wanted to be alone with me too. The wind played with my dress, and when I laughed, he smiled for the first time. "You have a beautiful laugh," he said, his voice lower than usual. It was such a simple compliment, but from him, it felt like a confession. I looked up at him, eyes locked. My fingers brushed against his arm as I reached for my drink, and he didn't pull away. Instead, he stepped in closer. "Are you flirting with danger, Ariana?" he asked, the corner of his lips tilting up. "Maybe I like danger," I whispered, heart pounding. His hand reached for mine, gently, but firmly. "Then maybe I've failed at being just a bodyguard." That night was unlike anything I'd imagined. He didn't kiss me right away. Instead, he walked me to my villa and stood at the door. "If I walk inside," he said quietly, "everything changes." "I know," I replied, "and I want it to." He stepped in. We didn't rush. It wasn't just about passion, it was deeper. Every touch was slow, every glance carried weight. He undressed me like I was something precious, not just a job. The way he looked at me in that swim dress, how he traced the line of my collarbone, how his breath caught when I whispered his name, it was all electric, intimate, unforgettable. We kept it hidden at first. He was still my bodyguard in public, professional and distant. But behind closed doors, we were something else entirely. I learned Logan was more than just a protector. He had scars, stories, emotions he kept buried deep. And slowly, he let me in. The more I knew him, the harder I fell. It wasn't all easy. One night, I overheard a call, his boss warning him to back off, that crossing lines would cost him everything. I panicked. I thought he'd leave me. I ran down to the beach that night, tears mixing with the salty air, and screamed into the waves. But he found me. He stood behind me in the dark, then walked up and pulled me into his chest. "I don't care what I lose," he said against my hair. "I'd rather be yours than be safe." That was the night I knew I loved him. We kept things quiet a while longer, but eventually, the truth came out. The media found out, of course. They called it scandalous, a breach of protocol. But I didn't care. Logan stood by me through all the noise, calm as ever. Except now, when he looked at me, he didn't hold back. And I didn't either. 2 months later, under the golden sunset on the same island where it all began, we exchanged vows. It was just close friends, family, and ocean breeze. I walked down the sand in a white silk dress, and Logan, my bodyguard, my love, watched me like I was everything. When I said I do, I wasn't just marrying a man who once protected my body. I was marrying the man who protected my soul, my joy, my everything. Now, when I wake up in his arms, I realize he was never just my bodyguard. He was the bodyguard of my existence. And I wouldn't want it any other way.